now at the QEO, and we'll have a look and see what's happening out there in the Castlemaine rooms at half-time, and here is Bruce Wardley.
Well, it's a very desperate Castlemaine here in the Castlemaine rooms. Coach Malcolm Stevens has been impressing the importance of keeping that pressure up on Sandhurst. But it must be disappointing. After the reserves win in the grand final, it now seems as if Castlemaine are trailing by such a margin they may not be able to get back again. But as Captain Peter Moore, Collingwood Captain Peter Moore said, it is possible to get back if they have that drive. Back now to you, Graham.
Right, back here once again, we find that the scoreboard shows that Sandhurst are 8-7-55, Castlemaine 4-5-29, and a pretty healthy difference there between the two sides, as half-time, of course, is being enjoyed by both clubs. We find that there's 26 points separating the two sides at the moment, and there were 24 points separating them, with Sandhurst leading at quarter-time, and even kicking against the breeze, they managed to increase that lead by 2 points. As we mentioned before, the small men of Castlemaine tried very desperately to get their side back into business, and as mentioned there by Bruce Wardley, Malcolm Stevens, the non-playing coach of the side, is no doubt talking to them in quite vehement terms down there, because they really must put a little bit more pressure on these very elusive Sandhurst players. I think if you look at Sandhurst, they seem to have more players at the moment, whereas more players going well, I mean, not more players on the ground, with Castlemaine relying on those few individuals, the runners of the ball, such as I mentioned before, and the Ian McClure's, Stan Kamoffs, Jervisoni is also doing quite well, and also the big fellow there in Ian Hargroves. But I think they've got to put more of a team effort in, get a few more of their runners going, otherwise they're going to find this 1981 grand final and premiership, which they have eluded them for the last 23 or 4 years, is going to elude them once again this afternoon. We find there that Sandhurst being led out onto the ground by Peter Lenigan. They appear to be relaxing pretty well in there at half-time. They don't appear to have any injury worries. Castlemaine have had their runners out with a magic towel on a few occasions. Let's hope that they're 100% fit. The two umpires back in the centre, umpire Fellows and umpire Dargable, I think doing a pretty good job this afternoon. We haven't noticed them, so obviously they're doing well.
Well, the crowd haven't noticed them either, Graham. That's the interesting thing, and I would say that although Graham Fellows is heading towards the end of his career, young Keith Dargaville, who has had a lot of senior appointments in VFL this particular year, is headed to a pretty good year next year.
Right, we'll take this break from the studios of Channel 8. We'll be back here at the sun-bathed Queen Elizabeth Oval for the start of the last 50 minutes for 1981 of football in the central Victorian area.
Great family entertainment at this year's Pyramid Hill Sports Carnival, Sunday, October 4. See the 6th event Ironman contest, Junior Ironman, Tug of War and many more exciting events at this year's Ironman contest, Pyramid Hill, October 4.
This on quality gloss prints, plus a free memory whiz cube with every film left for processing at Echuca Photo Express, Bailey's Pharmacy, Castlemaine, Noonan's Pharmacy, Kerrang, Hall's Pharmacies, Kahuna and Barham, and Tyndall's Pharmacy, Kangaroo Flat.
Did you know Carter's Real Estate have been selling real estate since 1900? They have for immediate sale this spacious Edwardian-style home for $39,950. Or for a great investment opportunity, this fully furnished semi-modern weatherboard at $18,000. And for a central position that would suit the first home buyer, this home is exceptional value at $29,000. Carters have several genuine buyers who require homes urgently. Contact Steve Carter, Kevin Foley or Royce Bynan at Carters, Williamson Street, Bendigo.
Well, we're just watching this, the black and whites running out on the ground. A nice shot there from our ground camera. Just looking at the Castlemaine situation here this afternoon. They are desperately striving to win a premiership here today. They've lost only 4 games for the season and finished on top of the ladder. They last won their premiership was won last in 1952, and before that it was 1926. So you couldn't say that they've held a mortgage on premierships in this particular region, with only 2 in those long periods of time, 1926 and 1952. In Castlemaine's 100-year history, it's the first time that both their seniors and reserves have been in a grand final, as we cross now to Bruce Wardley, who has the president of the Bendigo Golden City Football League, Mr. Howard Hall.
Harold, the Bendigo Football League must be very pleased with the attendance today.
Very, very pleased, Bruce. It's wonderful to see so many people coming back to Bendigo football.
A very strong contingent from Castlemaine looking around the ground.
I don't think there's anybody, Bruce, left in Castlemaine at the moment. They're all up here. They're waving their black and white streamers. They're cheering their side on. It's great.
Any idea of what the gate attendance is today?
Well, at the moment, Bruce, it's pretty hard to estimate the crowd, but money-wise, the gatekeepers has been over $5,500 taken off the gate yet, and they're still counting.
That's more than $1,500 more than last year.
At this stage, Bruce, yes.
Certainly a tremendous day of football.
Great, Bruce. Great for Bendigo and great for the league.
Thank you, Harold. Back now to Graham.
Right, thanks, Bruce. That's very good news. I thought that the gate was a bit higher last year, but 1,500 up and still counting augurs well for a very successful 1981 Grand Final financially, and of course for one club here this afternoon, also with the Premiership Cup under their belt. Very large crowd here, and the sun, I'm very pleased to say, is radiant and is showing its presence rather than that drizzling rain which we've experienced here for the last 24 hours. Very big crowd in the grandstand, and there's a whole buzz around as far as Grand Finals are concerned. And Peter Moore up here. I know Tony Southcombe, who is playing in a grand final to the north of the state today with his brother-in-law and very good friend Ronnie Best, was down here earlier watching the third, so obviously still showing lots of interest. There's the bounce of the ball once more to set the next 50 minutes and final for 1981 into operation, and here's Lenigan again. Can he dominate this game as he did in the first quarter? Gets a hand pass out to his teammate going through, but a nice mark in defence has been taken by Jeffries, and they will drive the ball from that back line once again. There's the kick around the grandstand centre wing division. Big men needed here. The big man in front of the pack, I thought, may have been awarded the mark. Who's the umpire going to give it to? No, he's going to give it to the Sandhurst club. No, he's not going to give it to the Sandhurst club. It's going to be taken here by Andy Moore. Right, and he's going to give 15 metres to boot for insolence. And Andy Moore, who wasn't holding his marks, according to brother Peter, has now held one in the first 30 seconds. There's the kick up towards the half-forward line. Big men needed. Nice mark taken at centre half-forward. Castlemaine certainly starting off in pretty grand fashion. It's right into the arms of Ian Hargraves. Hargraves now, good 50 metres out from goal, will try and drive it forward into that breeze. The kick is not a good one and it drops short. Up over the top of the pack, we find it being taken off the pack on that occasion, but still can't break away with it. Sandhurst desperate to drive it out of that position. This is the big crunch quarter, of course, for Sandhurst and Castlemaine. Games are usually won and lost in the third quarter. Right underneath the shadows of the scoreboard, which shows Sandhurst have 8-7-55 stamped on it to Castlemaine's 4-5-29. We find that umpire Dargable will dispatch the Ross Faulkner. Does so very nicely. A backhanded punch by Peter Lenigan, but it goes to the wrong player as it goes towards the goals. Opportunity here coming up, and a magnificent grab taken right in that full-back division for the Sandhurst defence, as we see them certainly standing steadfast, because Castlemaine would want to get this ball down there very quickly and very often in this quarter. There's the kick out towards the outer centre wing division. Chasing in after it there, we find is Michael Lenigan. Can he get hold of it? He can, but loses his possession just as quickly. The black and whites desperate to get it out of that position and get it up forward. Try hard to break it away from the fence. The umpire says, what? I will have a bounce of the ball, says umpire Keith Dargable, on the outer side of the ground, on the Baths wing, on the half-forward flank for the at the QEO. There's the big knock taken once more, this time off the hands of Gary Kerwin as he gets it to the ground. Got no rovers there, but hand passing is supreme at the moment as it's punched beautifully to Lenigan. Lenigan gets his right boot to the ball and gets dumped very unceremoniously after he got it onto his boot, so therefore Sandhurst will receive the kick downfield. Taken right on the centre wing division, outer side of the ground. Have to bring it across this side because they're kicking it down towards that dead pocket at the moment. And chasing after the ball is Peter Road. Peter Road now, short pass, it'll pay off too. Mick Lenigan, who gave him that free kick because of being dispatched into the ground. Not the best looking kick you've seen, bounces awkwardly for all concerned. Punched beautifully, and here's a goal coming up for the Sandhurstians, right through the centre off the boots of Mark McAvale, and it takes Sandhurst to 9-7, 61 to the Castlemaine score of 4-5-29.
Well, young McAvale had a quiet first term, Graham, but in that particular second quarter and a very bright opening to the third quarter, McAvale, a very dangerous player for Sandhurst, playing on the half-forward flank.
Mick Lenigan, of course, instrumental in bringing that with a hand pass off the half-back flank, backing himself up, getting the kick on the centre wing. Got dispatched after he got rid of the ball. Free kick resulted up forward, passed very nicely to him. Not the best kick, but it penetrated the forward line, and the result, a goal to the Sandhurst club.
Umpire sends the players on the way once again. Here's a chance for Castlemaine. They can't take the opposition of the ball, but now it's Sandhurst going forward into the forward pocket. Under the play there for Sandhurst is Greg Hull, but he rushes the ball over the line and it's out of bounds in the half-forward flank now for Sandhurst, doing all the attacking in the opening minutes. About 4 minutes gone in the third quarter here at the QEO, the Bendigo Golden City Grand Final. The boundary umpire throwing the ball in now. And here's a chance for Castlemaine to clear from the back line. A handball is spoiled, but Castlemaine are certainly very, very desperate. They've got to get a few more goals on the board. They are trailing by over 30 points at this particular stage of the match. The umpire coming in to sort out. He's going to bounce it. Forward pocket. Keith Dargaville with the ball, a very impressive umpire here in the grand final today. An easy knockout there for Castlemaine, handballing away through the back pocket area. Their ball goes out towards centre half back, but it's marked by Sandhurst in the centre half forward position, and that player is Kevin Walsh. Kevin Walsh it is, right at centre half forward, the breeze behind him.
50 metres out from goal.
Kevin Walsh, a beautiful kick, but it's just offline and it goes through for a behind, where Sandhurst 9 goals 8, 62, lead Castlemaine on 4 goals 5, 29.
Well, Castlemaine certainly started off in a blaze of glory in the first 60 seconds of that particular quarter, with a mark to Andy Moore on the centre wing and then up towards the half-forward line and then to Hargraves, but fallen in a bit of a heap again as we find it being kicked out there by the full-back for the side as he get it out towards the outer half-back flank division. Peter Fife it was, the boy who dispatched it in that area, drops to the ground once again, centre of the ground, nicely picked up and dispatched up forward by Ian McClure, getting it up towards the centre half-forward division, right down the throat there of Wayne Crosby. Crosby obviously moved out to centre half forward now as Peter Lenigan is now looking after him, puts it high towards the forward pocket division, punch to the ground, opportunity arising here, but quickness is the essence of the game as it's driven towards the forward pocket area. Desperate football from Sandhurst, also Castlemaine trying hard. Was he grabbed too high? The umpire says no, play on, and it's gone over the line and out of bounds for a throw-in around about 10 metres from the Sandhurst goal.
Graham, interesting the move, Crosby away from full forward.
Yeah, Crosby away from full forward, only kicked 1 goal so far this afternoon, and I think that Keith Cleave is to be commended on that, done an excellent job down there at full back. Here's an opportunity for a goal coming up off the boots on that occasion of young Dale Williams, who's on the ground, but through unfortunately for a minor score. 4-6-30 now as they trail by 32 points, Castlemaine, to Sandhurst's 9-8-62. There's the kick out. Beautiful kick, travels all of 60 metres towards the outer side of the ground, dropping to the turf. Once again, we find charging in after the ball is Gary Kerwin. Played a good game this afternoon, serviceable, and gets it to the ground as he says Kerwin will receive the free if he's the player to scratch himself. No, it's going Castlemaine on the outer side of the ground as they will drive it forward. Castlemaine certainly allowing time to slip away as they trail here by 31 points into this, the third quarter, up towards the centre half forward area. Nicely punched away by Sandhurst's defence. Gets it to the ground. The punch there taken by Mark Road. Gets it out towards that dead outer half-back flank division. Now we find a mark being paid, and certainly should be, to Dennis O'Connor. O'Connor, true rover, as I mentioned before, does a lot of work around the forward line, kicked 2 goals so far this afternoon, and also does work around defence, and that is the mark of a true rover. Gets it down towards the centre wing division, only to find coming in and taking it well is Tony Strong. Strong gets it up towards the half-forward line, cut off, however, by his own teammate in Mark Rowley, and Rowley, right in the centre of the ground, will drive the Castlemaine boys forward. The Magpies, bad kick, because all that's standing in its road there is the defence of the Sandhurst side, and again taking it is Dennis O'Connor. O'Connor putting it out wide, looking for, finding his teammate, a further hand pass, comes into the arms over there, and we find them going forward through Peter Lenigan down towards that half-forward flank, and another mark has been taken, and the system through Gary Allen has been continued. Gary Allen now with a right foot kick, puts it down forward. Here's Michael Lenigan coming up, and Michael Lenigan has marked the ball in a rather acute angle, probably only around about 35 metres out from goal. He's kicking back into the breeze and will have difficulty in judging it. Gets it right into the 10-metre square as they fly high, but a very strong mark has been awarded to John Jeffries. Jeffries now will try and put Castlemaine out of their misery momentarily once more as he gets it out towards the outer centre wing division. It's wide, chasing in over after they're underneath the ball is Gervasoni, but it eludes him and all players over the line and out of bounds, with Castlemaine showing 4-6-30 on the board, Sandhurst 9-8-62, and we've been playing around about 7 minutes in this, the third quarter.
Well, in earlier football this afternoon, Golden Square won the under-17 game and the reserves premiership went to Castlemaine. But it could be a Sandhurst one the way the scoreboard is shaping, as we've played now about 8 minutes into the third quarter, with Sandhurst a comfortable lead now of 32 points over Castlemaine. The ball at centre wing. Here's the throw-in. In ruck there for Sandhurst is the big Gary Kerwin. A very good game this afternoon, but it's Castlemaine getting a kick, a high kick onto the centre wing position. It's all Sandhurst in the run for the ball here. A long hand pass out to Lenihan. He steadies, has a look on the forward line, and a perfect pass out there to his teammate in Chris Green, the half-forward flanker. Green has a long raking kick into the goal square, and it's through for a great goal. Chris Green for the Sandhurst team, and Sandhurst go further ahead now, 10 goals 8, and they lead Castlemaine 4 goals 6. There's the slow-mo replay of that great kick, and this is the pocket and the scoring end for Sandhurst in this particular quarter, and this is where they've got a kick from, Graham.
Got to bring it out to this side of the ground, and they did that very well through the agency there as it went down towards that half-forward flank division, right into the arms of Chris Green, and a magnificently dispatched 45 or 50 metre kick. Coming on is Jamie Byrne, an interchange player for the Castlemaine side, as the ball is bounced in the centre once again. Drops to the turf, comes down towards the half-forward line as far as Sandhurst are concerned. Retrieved and shot back by Andy Moore. Gets it up towards the half-forward flank. Down it goes to the ground once again. Pretty scrimmaging play in that particular area. The player coming off, strangely enough, is Rick Gervasoni, who I thought had done particularly well. And going on is Jamie Byrne. Interchange for Castlemaine. There's a free kick is taken on the half-back flank for the Dragons. 30 plays 68 at the moment, a pretty big lead. In fact, 38 points into this, the third quarter, and it's pretty handy, and there'll be one or lost in this particular quarter. Bit of hand passing in the centre. The umpire said you threw the ball, son, so it's going to be a free kick to be taken right on the centre half-back division by the centre half-back Ian McClure. McClure now for Castlemaine, gets his left boot into the ball, puts it up towards the centre half-forward division. Peter Lenigan punches at the ground very nicely indeed, drops its way out where we find it being picked up by Kevin Walsh. Walsh, a hand pass into the centre, beautifully retrieved in that particular position there by Dennis O'Connor, and he's certainly been a good player this afternoon, but nicely again marked by McClure, who's been pretty steadfast in that centre half-back division. As McClure's kick, a left footer, wobbles its way towards centre wing, and as luck would have it, right into the arms of a teammate sitting in the centre, and he'll also get a 15-metre advantage as John Jeffries will accept it very nicely. Jeffries now, centre wing division, indicating long kick. Gets his right boot to the ball. The kick is long too, getting it up towards that full forward division. Eludes all concern down there as running it underneath the ball was Brett Fitzpatrick. Heads its way towards the full forward division, and a mark has been accepted and taken down there, and an opportunity for Jamie Byrne, the player who's just come on to replace Rick Gervasoni as the rain pours down here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. We had sunshine a moment ago, now we've got the rain. Well, now Jamie Byrne running around, puts it onto his right boot. What's he done? He's put it through for only 1 point. 4-7-31, plays 10-8-68, and Sandhurst doing it particularly well. With the rain coming down, it'll be slippery conditions, certainly a handy lead.
Well, it's certainly going to be a blessing in disguise for Sandhurst if this rain comes down as it's going to be for the next few minutes. By the looks of things, very dark overhead. Waiting on this ball to go back to the fullback position for Sandhurst to kick it in. The lead from Lenigan. He runs out towards the half-forward flank, but the ball's going straight down the centre of the ground in towards the cricket pitch area. The big men fly, thumped away, and here's a chance for Castlemaine. They get possession. Heavy knocks going in there, socket off the ground there by Sandhurst, putting it out into the open, and in the chase there is Gary Allen for Sandhurst and also Mick Allen for Castlemaine. He handballs over the line, and it goes out of bounds centre wing on the QEO.
I don't know whether the viewers can see that rain, but coming down rather heavily now here in the third quarter at the Queen Elizabeth Oval. The clouds coming right across. A moment ago we had all blue skies. There's the knock taken off the top of the pack by Gary Irwin. Gets it across to the centre. Suddenly got lots of running in their legs, the Sandhurst boys this afternoon, as they drop it down towards that half-forward flank, and a great mark pulled out of the air by Chris Green, who kicked the last beautiful goal from around about this same position, but he was on the run. Doesn't fancy himself from this position by the look of it, but now he's going back, running up very close to the man on the mark, high in the air. He'll drop about 10 metres short. The big men fly over the back of the pack. There'll be an infringement there, I thought, and Peter Fife could have been awarded the free, but not done so, as we find it driving its way back once again towards centre half forward. Here's an opportunity coming up. Oh, courageous attempt there by Ian McClure as he clashed into Gary Crouch to the ground, and we find that Castlemaine away once again towards the centre of the ground. Big men fly, drops to the ground. Oh, drop the ball, son, and the umpire saw it quite clearly, and the free kick will go here to Noel Belser. Noel Belser, short pass into the centre of the ground, finds running through in that position Dennis O'Connor, is picking up lots of kicks now, getting it down towards the full forward division, stemmed beautifully by Hargraves, gets it out towards the outer half-back flank division. Now they go around towards the centre wing, but standing in its road there is Kevin Walsh.
Graham, interesting note, Big McClure, one of the better players for Castlemaine, could be coming off the ground. He's in a lot of trouble out there with a leg injury.
In the hands of the trainers at the moment. The ball eludes the arms there of Peter Rode, eventually picked up, however, and shot forward off the boots of Gary Kerwin. He sends it down towards the full forward division. Would have thought nearly a free there to Mick Lenigan, but the umpire says no, and Lenigan got in a bit of trouble as it drops to the ground about 30 metres from the Sandhurst goal, and certainly a ton of rain pouring down here in the third quarter. Oh, gee, it's certainly coming in pretty hard and strong at the moment, the rain here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval, as we find defence for Castlemaine coming into operation off the boots of Peter Fife. Big men will fly, pretty hard to mark the ball now. It'd be like a greasy pig, I would imagine, as it drops to the turf. Chance here for Green. Nice hand pass to Lenigan. He dropped the goal here from the first quarter. It drives its way around, but it's out of bounds on the full, and Mick Lenigan inaccurate on that occasion, and the scoreboard remains static on 10-8-68 for Sandhurst. Castlemaine 4-7-31.
Well, Castlemaine will be in a lot of trouble if their big centre half-back and Ian McClure has to go off, because he's limping badly out there, and he's obviously sustained a leg injury in a heavy clash of players just a few minutes ago. Here's the Castlemaine team to bring it out of defence, and it's going out towards the player I was just been talking about in McClure, and he seems to have found a yard there, but he's still limping, and he's going to take a left foot kick from the back pocket. There's McClure's kick up towards the wing, and the big players fly there for Castlemaine, and Hargraves in the thick of things, hit on there by Castlemaine. Now they've got it out into the open, into the cricket pitch area at the centre half forward position, knocked on there by Mick Allen, and it's going to be Sandhurst going to relieve from the through very clever teamwork and unselfish play, and they bring it out into the open for Gary Allen. He gains possession, steadies, goes down the wing. He looks for his teammate in Dennis O'Connor. He's already kicked 2 goals. He can't gain possession of that wet ball, and it's out of bounds, and it's going to be a throw-in at centre wing.
Martin Sloan is off the ground for Sandhurst, and Gavin Exel comes on to replace him.
Here's the throw-in, centre wing. The rain still tumbling down at the QEO here in Bendigo, the home of Central Victorian football. A handball out to Lenigan. He steadies, gets a kick across towards centre half forward. No one there. Leading in the race is McAvale. He's been a good player in the last 2 quarters. McAvale thrown off the ball. Umpire calls play on. The pack develops, but it's going to be Cole who knocks it out of the pack. Heavy play there by the Castlemaine defence. They steady and are going to clear. A left foot kick. And it's a chance here for Sandhurst over the top of the ball. Their player there to clear it is Hartney, Shane Hartney. A handball back into a scrimmage, and the umpire is Graham Fellows. He'll come in and bounce the ball.
Right in front of our broadcasting position in the grandstand side of the grounds. Graham Fellows has still got a smile up. He'll be wet. I don't know why he has. Nice knock taken out of the pack there by the big fellow Gary Kerwin. Rucked very well this afternoon, Kerwin, as we find Sandhurst charging forward once again off the boots of Shane Hartney. Down it goes to Lenigan, who's showing a ton of dash out there to try and pick this ball up. He eventually does. The umpire says what? Caught with the ball, Michael Lenigan. He might get 15 metres as well, which will put him well within scoring distance. And Mick Lenigan on the half-forward line has an opportunity to put his 3rd goal on the board, and not a much needed, but certainly in grand finals it's needed. Everyone counts. An 11th goal on the board for Sandhurst.
Very good umpiring by these 2 VFL umpires this afternoon. They've given a great display, and of course they've kept an eye on things behind the play too. Here's Lenigan, his shot for goal. It's going to be offline and through for a behind.
Well,
and
costly miss there as we find Lenigan, who undoubtedly, in my opinion, is the best man on the ground to date. He's certainly been in everything like pepper and salt. And we find that Sandhurst now moved to 10-9-69 as opposed to 4-7-31 as the rain continues to tumble down. Big men not needed now. It's runners that are needed, and the runner there is Dennis O'Connor getting it towards the centre half forward division. A great mark to Gavin Exel, who has just come on the ground to replace his teammate Martin Sloan. And Exel has a chance to stamp his name in the record books with a goal here from around about 30 metres out. He's been on the ground about a minute and a half. He puts a left boot to the ball, coming back, but not far enough, I don't think. And the umpire says through for 1 point. Pretty handy lead, however, at the moment with 10-10-70 on the board, as opposed to Castlemaine's 4-7-31. And they keep peppering away as the kick will be taken here by Peter Fife. Fife kicks it out towards centre half back. Up they go. Nearly a good mark taken in the conditions. It's going to be a bit of hand passing here, I would imagine. Oh, he's a game man, bouncing the ball as he goes around under these greasy conditions. And that was Peter Mills getting it up towards the centre wing. Up over the top of the pack it goes. Opportunity for Wayne Crosby. Crosby gets his kick in and puts it well towards the big ones. And it's gone very close, but through for 1 point only.
Good play there by Castlemaine in moving that ball. So obviously if players are going to take a risk of bouncing, Graham, they could have problems later on.
Well, I thought it'd be a bit slippery out there this afternoon. It's certainly not heavy, but slippery I thought might have been the order of the day. Kicking it onto his boot down there is Keith Cleve, and brings himself about 20 metres out, puts it right into the centre of the ground, drops into the arms out there of the little fellow running through in Dale Williams. Can't get hold of the ball, however, as it drops to the ground. Dale Williams, of course, the late replacement for Mick Kinross, who withdrew from the Castlemaine side because of injury. Bounce of the ball by umpire Dargable on the centre wing. On the outer side of the ground, on the Bath side of this Queen Elizabeth Oval. The big men fly and up they go. The knock is directed there again by the big fella in the person of Gary Kerwin. Certainly done well in the ruck this afternoon as it drops to the ground. Outer side of the ground it goes. Going to be defence coming into operation over the line and out of bounds. As running in underneath there is Gary Barber, but couldn't control the ball before it hit the picket fence. It's now 10-10-70. It's not actually a picket fence, is it? It's a tin fence, I think. 10-10-70 to 4-8-32 is the current score at the moment, and we've been playing around about 15 minutes in this, the third quarter. Partly breeze, of course, favouring the Sandhurst end in this third quarter, and quite blustery with the rain. I think probably would ease the situation as far as Sandhurst are concerned, holding this big lead. Up they go and in they go. Nice knock taken there by Gary Crouch. Certainly been an effective player, especially in the last quarter and a half. To the ground it goes once again. Bit of hand passing. Ill-fated, however, as it drops to the ground. And I think we're going to see a pretty scrambly run home here to conclude the 1981 season, as a good grab is taken there by Noel Belser at the centre half back division for Sandhurst. The Dragons now into attack around towards their centre wing division, but a pushing and shoving there, and it's going to be a Sandhurst free to be taken wide on that centre wing, with the rain tumbling down at the Queen Elizabeth Oval, and about 15 minutes gone in this the third quarter.
Castlemaine player in trouble there on the centre wing position. Looks like a cramp problem, but Sandhurst are going forward, and good play there. Nice little pass across to a teammate in Gary Barber. He puts it down to the forward line. Underneath the ball is Sandhurst. They get it across towards their full forward position. Castlemaine player is dragged. The umpire calls play on. It's into a scramble. Thumped out now. Here's a big chance for the big player from Castlemaine to clear, but it's all Sandhurst. A long handball out into the wide open spaces of the QEO, and in goes, of course, for Sandhurst, Chris Green, who's already kicked a goal in the second quarter, but a long raking kick out of bounds on the full, and it's going to be Sandhurst, and the player to take that kick will be Gary Barber. Centre wing position for Sandhurst.
Gary Barber cropped up over the last few minutes. Both of them have, there's another change coming up too, and coming back onto the ground for the Castlemaine club is Rick Gervasoni, who I thought had played a pretty serviceable game so far this afternoon. Oh, McLennigan hits the turf after dispatching the ball on his left boot out on the outer side of the ground, and the umpire very quickly getting in there as we find a bit of pushing and shoving going on over on that outer side of the oval. Graham Fellows very quick to run in to try and stop Gary Crouch coming in to remonstrate with the offender from the Castlemaine club who put Mick Lenigan to the turf. But and he's still having yaks to him out there too, and they'll have to watch themselves a bit. But Lenigan is still on the turf down out there. But a free kick has gone to Exel. And Exel will try for a goal, but he's done the same thing as he did a few moments ago. In fact, he's won worse. He's put it over the line and out of bounds on the full, as we wait now for a free kick to be taken by the Castlemaine side. The magic towel is out over there on Michael Lenigan, and he will be back in action in just a few moments. Right in front of the broadcast position, the big men fly, nicely knocked to the ground. Picked up, however, in defence for Castlemaine coming into operation. Left foot kick around the centre wing division. Up over the top of the pack there, trying desperately to mark it was Andrew Strawer. Couldn't do so. Picked up by Crosby. Crosby puts it forward, seems more effective at centre half forward than he was at full forward, although with limited opportunities as the ball goes over the line and out of bounds for a throw-in, and with the ball moving so very quickly around that half forward line, has left the boundary umpire some few yards behind.
About 23 minutes gone now in the third term, with Sandhurst 10-10, 70 points. Castlemaine 4 goals, 8, 32. Could be a winning break coming up at three-quarter time, Graham.
Yes, I would suggest they're playing too well at the moment, Sandhurst. They have their system going. They have match-winning men in, of course, the person of Mick Lenigan, who's doing it well. As the kick onto the centre wing, 2-1 there. Castlemaine had the 2, but still couldn't do much with it. Dropped to the turf. Charging over it there was Gary Kerwin. Couldn't also do anything with it. Eventually picked up, and that's how slippery it is as John Jeffries tries to go through. Getting it up there. A hand pass comes over the top of the pack by Hargraves, but it's ill-fated because it goes to the opposition. Back towards the half-back flank division. Gary Crouch was underneath it. Couldn't handle it. Once again, it comes back towards the McClure direction. McClure has it beautifully punched away from him on that occasion by Gary Kerwin. Still an opportunity here for the Dragons to do some attacking, as a free kick will be taking place here to Dennis O'Connor, who's been a very serviceable rover this afternoon, and looking at him right in front of our screen, certainly not much of him. As the kick by O'Connor wobbles its way towards the 10-metre square as it drops to the ground. Opportunity now for defence, and they'll bring it into defence with a nice short chip out to Kamoff. Oh, dived on the ball, but couldn't do much with it because it eluded him. Getting pushed over there was Dennis O'Connor. A hand pass goes out. The umpire says an infringement, and the free kick will be taken here by Stan Kamoff. Kamoff, a rattling second quarter, but has been pretty quiet so far in this, the third stanza. Up they go. Ball drops right into the arms after a very clever jump there by Jamie Byrne. Byrne had been on the ground just a few moments as an interchange. Gets the ball, right foot kick up towards centre half forward. The big men fly, drops to the turf. Charging in after it there, we find the big fellow in Hargraves. Can't do much with it. He's still battling. Drop to the ground. Peter Lenigan, the skipper of the Sandhurst club, is going to pick up a free kick at centre half back, and certainly been steadfast, if not spectacular, this afternoon. Peter Lenigan, he's been outshaded by his well, probably more celebrated brother, the Mickelson medal winner in 1981.
23 minutes gone in the third term with Sandhurst. 10 goals, 10-70, leading Castlemaine 4-8-32. There's Lenigan's kick, a nice wobbly kick down towards centre wing, but it's all Castlemaine, and Andy Moore takes the mark on centre wing. Andy Moore, as we mentioned earlier, is the brother of Peter Moore, the Collingwood captain. Had a bad day yesterday.
Perhaps
and looks
he
like
might
the
like to say that
Magpies are
Peter
having
Moore
a
is
bad
his
day.
brother.
Yes, it hasn't been a good day for the Magpies, and of course further up north today in the Charlton area, we hope that the Bort, who also play in the Magpie uniform, are performing well in their grand final against Witchy Proof in the North Central League.
Waiting now for the ball, half forward flank coming in as umpire Dargable to bounce the ball. Castlemaine scoring zone. They certainly need to do a bit of it. They're 32 points in collective total, made up of 4-8 to 10-10-70 for Sandhurst, coming up to three-quarter time. Charging out here we find is young Kevin Walsh, who's certainly been a pretty good player on his centre wing this afternoon as he drops it down towards the centre of the ground, only to find in the road there the big arms of Rick Gervasoni. Gervasoni now drives the Magpies up towards centre half forward. Big men fly, only a one-handed mark taken. Pretty difficult on a day like this. Trying to punch it forward there is John Stevenson. Eventually gets it out into open spaces. Trying to pick it up over there is Ian McClure. Can't do so. Diving it underneath the ball once again, as we find is Peter Mills. He is the boy who sees the umpire indicate that it's going to be a bounce at the true centre half forward position. The scoreboard says 10-10-70 Sandhurst, 4-8-32 for Castlemaine. The big punch comes out there from Hargreaves with Castlemaine colours on. Still trying to charge through the pack. The umpire says play on. Could have been a bit high, but again umpire Keith Dargable will come in and bounce it in the exact same position. There's a few changes coming up here too. Coming on the ground for Sandhurst is Dennis O'Hare, and coming off the ground we find is who is that
young
coming
Mark
up? That's young Macavale, who I thought had been quite serviceable.
He's kicked 2 goals already in this game.
There's the ball down towards the centre half forward position and just coming on the ground. How often does this happen when the interchange players come on? It's happened 3 times this afternoon. Dennis O'Hare has marked the ball at centre half forward. He's been on the ground about 3 seconds. Down towards the forward pocket division. Oh, nearly a good mark up over the back there, but it's handballing at its very best, trying to get it out towards the half-back flank division as Jeffries runs in with Lenigan. They both tumble to the turf, but Lenigan's hand pass is good, but he puts Gary Kerwin under a ton of pressure, and it's going to be a free kick to be taken here right in the back pocket division by Kamoff, the little rover for the Castlemaine club.
That was a good tackle, Graham, and the umpire right on it. He saw that the Sandhurst player threw it out and attempted to get it out over the line, and he's gone the way of Castlemaine and
That's
giving a free
going out
kick.
of bounds on the full, I think. No, just inside the line. Pretty lucky there, right in front of us, as we find a bit of cramp has gone into the legs of Kevin Walsh for Sandhurst. Waiting now for the throw-in to take place. The big men will fly out there. Representing the Castlemaine club is Ian Hargreaves. As up they go, neither side can get the knockdown. The big arms there of Chris Green had to elude him as well, as umpire Dargable will once again come in and bounce the ball, as we see a player being taken from the ground, and another interchange coming up, and coming off the ground we find is Kevin Walsh with cramp, and coming on the ground is Mark Macavale, who was off the ground
the shortest time I've seen an interchange.
for about a minute and a half. There's a nice kick from the back line by Brett Strews for Castlemaine, putting it round towards the centre wing, but again outnumbered. Oh, there's a nice high knock there, and the recipient of the free will be Noel Belser, and Belser will take it on the centre wing. Sun now is out here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval, and you're watching the grand final of the Bendigo Golden City Football League here between the 2 gladiators in the person of Sandhurst and Castlemaine, with Mick Lenigan putting it forward once again, looking for XL. XL can't mark the ball, hits the turf, tries a hand pass out, reasonably effective under the pressure that he has been put on. Running in there is Dennis O'Hare. He's also a new interchange player on, so XL and O'Hare, the 2 interchange players, doing well, and further cramp has been suffered out here right in the centre of the ground, this time by Gary Barber. So certainly a few, no, not Barber, that's Peter Rode. So Peter Rode certainly feeling the effects here of a pretty strenuous game.
Okay, the ball in the forward pocket here for Sandhurst, and a lot of players going down, Graham, with cramp. Is this an indication of the pressure it was on in the first quarter? And of course the ground has become very, very sodden with heavy rain early in the 3rd term. The kick from Castlemaine up towards the centre wing position, but it's all Sandhurst off hands, and here's a chance for Castlemaine as the 3/4 time siren goes here at the QEO. And Sandhurst are 10 goals 10, 70 points, and they lead Castlemaine 4 goals 8, 32. Let's have a look at the goal kickers to date for Sandhurst. We see that Mick Lenigan has 2, Dennis O'Connor has 2, and Mark Macavale has 2, and 1 each to Gary Allen, Gary Crouch, Greg Hall and Chris Green. For the Castlemaine side this afternoon, 1 each to Mick Allen, Wayne Crosby, Stan Kamov and Rick Gervasoni.
Right, we'll take this commercial break and we'll be back with the final 25 minutes of play here from the Queen Elizabeth Oval of the 1981 Grand Final.
Car won't start? Then call at Bendigo's only battery factory, Golden City Batteries, now at Littleton Terrace, Bendigo. Dennis Fletcher of Golden City Batteries manufactures a large range of hard rubber batteries suitable for cars, trucks, tractors, motorcycles and boats, plus the full range of quality Besco batteries, all sold with a long guarantee and dollars below suggested retail price. Buying direct from the manufacturer, you'll save dollars at Golden City Batteries, 158 Littleton Terrace, Bendigo. Evans Shoe Stores have a comprehensive range of Florsheim and Julius Marlowe shoes to suit all occasions. Florsheim's new seasons range includes Savoy, Northants and Finedon. Remember, Florsheim completes the man. And there's famous Julius Marlowe's all-purpose crystal sole shoes. Choose Julius Marlowe shoes for quality leathers, expert workmanship and great value. And just arrived is a fabulous new range of boots by both Florsheim and Julius Marlowe. Step into style at Evans Shoes, Echuca and Kyabram.
Buying new spectacles? Bill Wilkinson's Optical Centre, Bendigo, invites you to inspect his large range of spectacle frames by the world's leading eye fashion designers, Silhouette, Christian Dior and Menrad. Plastic lenses can be fitted to all these frames. Doctor's prescriptions dispensed. Allow Bill Wilkinson to arrange your next appointment. Eyewear for the family from Bill Wilkinson, spectacle maker, 32 Queen Street, Bendigo.
Patches Canvas Manufacturing are the true tarpaulin specialists. Patches will make any size tarp or cover out of quality Brad Mill canvas or welded Camelon vinyl. Patches repair tarps, tents, annexes and awnings and give excellent service as well as quality and price. They also retail canvas and accessories. See Patches Canvas Manufacturing at their two locations, Haddam Street, Bendigo and Bailey Street, North Melbourne. Remember their slogan, they'll make it or patch it.
Well, back here once again, we're watching the Sandhurst boys. Stamped on his back there, Keith Cleave, the full back. You can just see in your picture there. And Sandhurst should be feeling pretty happy with themselves with 10-10-70 on the board to Castlemaine's 4-8-32. The goal kickers, Alan has given you some of the better players at this particular stage. I thought that, although a bit quieter in that quarter, Crouch started to get on top in the centre. I was interested to see Mark McAvale go off the ground because I thought he'd been reasonably effective up around that forward line with 2 goals. Also Chris Green on a half-forward flank. Gary Kerwin in the ruck I thought is doing reasonably well, and young Dennis O'Connor, the rover, who in my opinion does at both ends of the ground, which is the true mark of a rover. He's kicked 2 goals as well and defended very nicely and has played quite well, I thought, this afternoon. But Mick Lanigan, I feel, still undoubtedly is the exceptional player on the ground this afternoon. He's been in everything like pepper and salt and been doing it particularly well. Just having a look out there, no doubt Peter Lanigan is having a few words to the Sandhurst boys because complacency can set in. Now we're across there with Malcolm Stevens, the coach of the Castlemaine side. I don't know what you'd say at this particular stage of the game. It's pretty difficult to say when in fact you're trailing by 38 points. In that particular quarter, Sandhurst kicked 2 goals, 3, and unfortunately for Castlemaine they only managed the solitary 3 points. So the quarter-by-quarter lead as far as Sandhurst are concerned, they led by 24 points at quarter time, 26 at half, and they've now gone to what I would consider to be an unassailable lead of 38 points going into the final 25 minutes of play. They've broken up quicker than... well, no, we find that the Castlemaine side is breaking up a little bit quicker, no doubt anxious to get on with the job to try and redeem a little bit of the lost poise that they have here in this game. But it's no doubt in my mind that Sandhurst have had the better teamwork. They've had a lot more good players this afternoon. In fact, it's quite easy to find a number of players who've contributed quite well as far as they're concerned. But looking through the Castlemaine side, very difficult to find contributors over the 3 quarters to date.
Well, Graham, it must be disappointing for the coach of the Castlemaine side, Malcolm Stevens, looking up at the scoreboard, just 4 goals in 3 quarters of football, and they probably would have come into this game as favourites.
They have come in as favourites, only slight, however, but they've apparently, over the many years of traditional rivalry between Sandhurst and Castlemaine, they've always found it difficult to beat Sandhurst at this particular oval, and it was only this year that Castlemaine got right on top of them here and defeated Sandhurst, but today it looks like a different story, doesn't it? That's the sounds that you can hear there. And there's Michael Lanigan, who, as I mentioned, has been, in my opinion anyway, the best player on the ground. He won the Mickelson medal. He certainly got the credentials. He's played in a victorious BCFL side, which beat the ACT by 1 point back halfway through the season. And it was interesting up there that he was named on a centre wing, Mick Lenigan. He was taken from the ground because he wasn't all that effective, and he came back on the ground in the third quarter and was placed as a ruck rover, and I thought did exceptionally well, and that's the role that he's fulfilling so very well for the Sandhurst club this afternoon. The Maroon and Blues, I think, should feel pretty happy with themselves to date because they've played more as a team, and they seem to do what they have done a little bit better. We have a commercial break coming up as we find Sandhurst get ready for the final 25 minutes of football here at the QEO.
Why buy when you can hire from low-cost rentals? Mobile compressors up to 250 cubic feet per minute, generators, compressed air equipment, power tools that include jigsaws, grinders and take guns, plus a huge range of concreting equipment with brick cutting machines, mixers and all the concreting accessories. At low-cost rentals, you can even hire his and her mobile toilets, ideal for those coming picnic days. Call in soon or phone Gary and the boys at Low Cost Rentals, High Street, Kangaroo Flat. It's pre-season header clearance time at Swan Hill T&I Centre. Inspect this workshop-tested John Deere Model 55. This unit has a 14-foot front, has been reconditioned and resprayed, and is ideal for irrigation harvest work. See also this New Holland Model 135, which has also been reconditioned and resprayed. This ready-for-harvest unit has a 14-foot front, Hannaford screen, and a diesel motor. For a great pre-season deal, contact Swan Hill T&I Centre, Naya Road, Swan Hill. In 1888, when paddle steamers plied the mighty Murray River, the tiny township of Swan Hill became the birthplace for The Guardian. Almost a century later, The Guardian is a vigorous tri-weekly regional publication centred on Swan Hill, serving northern Victoria and the southern Riverina. Using computerised technology, skilled staff cover district history in the making, also bringing buyers and sellers together in the commercial market. Community events, district news, sporting news and daily happenings are published each Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Contact your newsagent today and arrange home delivery of The Guardian, your guide to greater local knowledge and better living.